Good evening and welcome to In the Trees with your hosts, Matt and Derek. And tonight's episode, we're going to talk about the possibility of the existence of ghosts. Derek, let's get your thoughts on that. What do you think about ghosts?
Ghosts or like other things I, think about. It's varies. I definitely have, obviously we kind of think we had that one little incident in our own little episode. But,
Yeah.
I definitely, I have a clip for that here in a second. But, it just depends. I feel like, there's that I think there's a law in physics where basically energy cannot be destroyed.
Correct.
It can only be like redistributed or whatever it is. I know it just has to be recreated.
You can use any word you want.
Yeah, but I know it just can't be destroyed. It always has to be into other forms.
Converted.
So I definitely believe that, if there was enough like energy going around, everybody, exists that has some form of energy.
Right.
And if you live long enough in a certain area, your residual leftover energy can definitely reside in those homes. I think also, depending on how maybe the person died, lived, the events around their death.
Good and bad.
Yeah, possibly, I definitely can believe in a lot of those things. And, try to be a man of science, lack of my education I probably actually have. But I do believe there's some scientific laws, and I understand that, like I said, energy has to be still there. So, like, I can understand, especially if you're living near, like, high energy levels or places that have just a lot of, human life going in and out of it, busy public schools, hospitals, churches, anything that has life and death involved in it. I think that place is going to have a bunch of energy.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's all very fair points in my opinion. I myself am fairly educated in the mannerisms of science myself, but no official degree either. But especially, and I've done a lot of research into the paranormal, especially ghosts, hauntings, those types of things, possibly haunted objects, haunted places. In fact, there's a categorization that they have. They have 3 different levels of hauntings that I know of, and then they have 3 different types of hauntings. In fact, we have a clip for you viewers to see what a fellow expert in the field has to say about the types of hauntings. Roll the clip, Derek.
There are 3 types of haunting. You've got haunted places, haunted objects, and haunted people.
3 places.
So it might be somebody that lives in the house, it might be the house itself, or the ground that it's built on.
Right, so that was just a small clip, guys.
Right.
It kind of gives you a little understanding what we're talking about here today.
Right. There's a lot of scientific study into this, in my opinion, that has now started to become a mainstream idea. 20 years ago, it was laughed at still. Even 100 years ago, it wasn't that our ancestors, in my opinion, weren't seeing things, but I don't think they talked about it. Not in the way that we're open about it now. We have technology to our advantage now where we can start picking up. It's so easy to pick up an EVP, the electronic voice phenomenon. It's almost, child's play at this point. You can download an app and do it from your phone if you know how to do it correctly. I myself have seen, do you remember when we were kids that we lived in a haunted house? We lived in one of those first houses in Guthrie that were ever built. It was that old Victorian 3-story home on Noble.
Oh, yeah.
And
I feel like anything Victorian definitely has some haunted stuff to it. But yeah, like he was saying, we lived in a house that was like, this was like 30 years ago, not trying to age us, but even when it was like 30 years ago, this house was over like 115 years old, and we found tombstones in the back.
Yeah.
There was always stuff going on.
Yeah.
And it feels like as soon as we started like getting a lot of like electronic devices in the house, we started seeing like a spike in activities.
You did not go up into the attic, folks. You did not stay upstairs for any length of time. You did not pay attention to the creaking and the walking at night, right above you if you lived upstairs like I did. I saw many a shadow figures there.
Oh, yeah, I definitely had my couple run-ins like, is that a face staring at me under the staircase?
Definitely creepy. Nothing interactive per se,
No,
but definitely a residual haunting. And that was the other thing with the 3 types. There's 3 levels of hauntings that are commonly referred to. You have residual, like we had, where something might not be intelligently aware, or consciously aware that it's there.
The leftover energy.
Just leftover energy.
Just replaying that kind of energetic lifespan in that house. That house was insanely old. The lives that went through that house, just living there, left energy, and then the people that had literally died there. Like I said, we found tombstones in the backyard.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then you have, what they would call interactive hauntings, poltergeist, ghosts that knock things off the shelves, scratches, talking EVPs, video recordings of things like that. In fact, don't we have the clip?
Yeah, we have our own clip of something getting knocked off our own shelf. Which
this was
wild.
This was 3 episodes ago. We were just talking about aliens, which brings us to the next point of the discussion. But real quick,
roll the clip.
Roll the clip.
A lot of these things are great that
And that's just the government trying to shut us down. Now, obviously, I was joking about the government shutting it down. It might have been something else, but like I said, that was like, what the heck? And I even got pointed out when I was showing my employees, like, hold up, that didn't even just fall off. It was flipped off the shelf.
And it was his name.
Yeah, it was. I have a plaque that has my name split into 2, and it was the DER part of my name that got flipped off the shelf. So it was like, okay, that's a little interesting.
Right.
All right.
Notice I didn't make a face. But
I was definitely like,
that brings me to the next one is malicious, or sometimes commonly referred to as demonic hauntings, where there's malicious intent behind the haunting. Whatever it is trying to hurt you actively or cause harm, psychosis, mental or emotional damage, and feeding off that negative energy. And I believe, the proper classification for that kind of thing is more so a interdimensional being, either one of advanced or one of higher abilities that can both manifest and interact on the 3D realm.
I get that. I mean, they can definitely, when they're on that level of existence in that different dimension, if that's the case of what they're doing, they can definitely be evil. Or, I mean, at least on our perspective of what evil is, when they're such an advanced, probably dimensional being, I don't think they care about that type of stuff. They're just having fun. Right.
And, traveling the cosmos and stuff like they do, they could just be playing around. Or something
that's why
that...
actually someone mentioned, like, you guys were talking about aliens. It could have been just a Gray trying to play tricks with you guys.
Right,
like,
right.
Hey, that's possible, too.
Absolutely. An alien wouldn't even have to manifest in the third dimension to interact with it. If it had the cloaking capability, they could easily walk through these walls, doors, none of this would stop them. And we would know no different. They could observe us at any point. Honestly, if you're an advanced enough species, think about where we'll be in 1,000 years. But, that's only a small percentage of ghost sightings, in my opinion. I really do believe, hotspots, per se, of emotional turbulence or things that have happened that have a lot of emotional negativity attached to it, per se, like jails, hospitals.
Yeah, I was going to say hospitals. We actually were just talking to our father right before this recording. And he actually comes in from the medical field, and he actually mentioned how there was a bunch of doctors that he was just talking to, how they are, talking about how one of them was going to the, the medical gym that's inside the facility, or I think it had to be the physical therapy department, and they saw someone working out like at 6 o'clock in the morning and no one was there, and then they looked again and it was gone, or just people just opening the door, or having an elderly person open the door for them when they're going to the room, and then they realize the elderly person died, and there wasn't even the elderly person there to begin with that actually opened the door, and it was actually the same person. But yeah, I mean, it can go crazy. Like I said, prison stuff, you wouldn't find me in there at all.
Really, there's so many different aspects of ghost hauntings that a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people are frightened by it. Have you personally yourself? I don't think until you experience it as a person that you actually believe it at the core, even if it's a subject of interest. I myself have seen many unexplainable events that I could only, attribute to, supernatural, things of that nature. I've seen things move, objects flutter, fly off shelves. I've seen apparitions, full-bodied apparitions. Our old family building was haunted as all get out. Staying there a couple nights, I had my car break down one time there, and I had to stay the night inside the back. Man, I'm telling you.
And this is a warehouse usually.
Oh, man, it was a 150-year-old building.
Yeah, we had an old warehouse that we had a lot of stuff in. So, yeah, I can understand why.
Yeah.
I would never have been there in the night, guys. That's 100% sure. Would not have been found there.
Yeah, no. Scary. But, man, I really think that there's a legitimacy to ghosts and
Yeah.
the paranormal and things like that to some degree. Maybe we either haven't gotten the science to catch up to it, to where it's actually science, or that science, purposely let behind. Because I think there's enough advancements in technology to prove that there's a being there. Thermal imaging. They have all that.
I mean, possibly, like I said, I'm not sure how intelligent that thing would actually be. Like that, I think it's a lot of it. Most hauntings are probably from residual energy left over from being. I remember there was his classification is either a place, object, which haunted dolls. I think I've seen some of those old Victorian. I remember that one Victorian. It was like a British channel that had like that news morning show where they had like a doll just randomly starts rocking back and forth. So I understand that, and I think that has to also do with like residual energy. That doll might have been around some gruesome sayings, and that residual energy is left in that doll. But then I think you mentioned one time there was different levels, and that last level I think was where a lot of people have to watch out for. And obviously, and I don't want to get into saying, but I'm never going to be playing with the Ouija board, guys. Not as much as I would love to go and do some like ghost hunting stuff, like go into some haunted hospitals and stuff like that, and at midnight or something doing that kind of stuff. I draw the line with Ouija board stuff because I feel like that might be some interdimensional type, too intelligent beings or some demons. I don't know, but I think that goes past like haunting levels.
There's a great analogy I heard about Ouija boards, and this would be me and you perfectly. A chainsaw put in my hands could equal a work of art. A chainsaw in your hands is death waiting to happen. No offense to anybody, but that's the same analogy you use for a Ouija board. Would you want to put a chainsaw in a 14-year-old's hand and let them, you got kids and stuff. I've heard of, we had a cousin. I remember she was 12 or 13, man.
Don't be naming people.
Oh, man. She'll be all right. And
I might edit your name out. Don't worry.
and I remember she was playing with one of the things, and I'll never. No. I don't want to play with the triangle that moves on its own. I am good.
We had this. We were all hanging out one time when we were like in our early, like maybe late teens, and maybe early 20s, and one of our friends randomly just brought a Ouija board over, and me and my friend were like, get the hell out of there. What's that? Nah, that needs to go outside. Take it with you. You're not playing with that in this house. Like, what? Why are you freaking out? It's like, no, I ain't trying to bring nothing into this house. Like he said,
no,
I'm down to go to
not.
some random woods and stuff like that, which we might do here in a little bit.
No, that's a good future idea.
Yeah, we definitely want to do some exploring with that. I mean, I would love to do something like that, but I draw the line with that stuff.
Yeah, I definitely think that we're gonna start doing some of our own explorations in the next couple of years. That's definitely a direction to happen because we got lots of hotspots here in Oklahoma. I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Go visit some, and
we lived in a town where there was a haunted orphanage, and I went there for prom, and eventually it got bought out by some like rich person, and they fixed it up. But even then, I was there for prom one year, and man, I was in this courtyard by myself, and it was just the spookiest sensation ever. I was like, man, I feel like I'm being watched. I'm like, let me go find my date real quick. I'm about to get kidnapped or something by some ghosts, and nope, I'm cool.
And you think back to what we were talking about. We're gonna go visit some hotspots, jails. There's nothing more depressing and negative than being at a prison. You've got negative emotions, anger, despair, death, violence, all those negative things attached to a jail. Same thing with the hospital, hopefully minus the violence. But when you see 20,000 people die at a place, there's going to be something left.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And it begs the question: what's on the other side of the veil, Derek?
That I do not know, but I mean, it'd be interesting to not find out anytime soon.
Yeah.
Maybe in like 50 years, 60 years, 70 years, I can find out.
Yeah.
I mean, unless technology allows us to figure out what's beyond the veil. But
Right.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, I mean, like I said, I won't avoid certain sayings, but I'm definitely interested in doing a lot of other things.
Listen, ghosts is the paranormal and spiritual afterlife is such a broad subject that we could talk about different of it at any point and pick infinite numbers. There's, loved ones. There's good ones where, like you said earlier, couples that lived at a house that they bought and owned for 50 years, had a good life, died, you might still see them at 3 o'clock in the morning making muffins or trying to, and not knowing that they were there. But in regards to bad or possibly evil stuff, I do believe in true evil in the world. Not something I'm readily going to go seek, but at the same time, not something that I'm afraid of, because it's not something I tamper in. As far as like you said, we don't mess with Ouija boards and stuff. Going to a haunted woods, going to cemetery, maybe trying some stuff out there.
Oh yeah, I would definitely be completely cool with that myself. But guys, I think that's gonna be episode 6 at this point. I don't even know where we're at this point, guys. We're just gonna keep doing these things until eventually we can make $1 million, and then we can retire and never have to do another. But that might be like episode 1682. But until then, guys, this is In the Trees with Matt and Derek. And guys, thank you for coming in for this next episode. I think we have another one planned out, but until then, guys, we'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys.
See you guys.